The date is March 18, 2003. Saddam Hussein, second son of Iraqi President Saddam Hussein, reaches the doors of the Central Bank of Iraq at 4 a.m. While the country is asleep, Qusay brings 3 trucks and a dozen army men to the bank and slips a note to the manager. It is a signed document from Saddam Hussein himself. Everyone in the bank is shocked. The note guided for all the currency in the bank to be put on the trucks Qusay has brought, and the bank employees, along with the army of men, start to fill them up with hard cash. Moments later, the United States of America invades Iraq. What a coincidence, right? What happened next was not expected. Why did Saddam give such an absurd command to his successor? And were they able to hide the loot from the heist? Keep watching Crime Cartel to find out. The beginning of the end. Saddam Hussein ruled Iraq with an iron fist from 1979 until 2003. During his tenure of 2 long decades, he implemented a series of brutal and oppressive policies to maintain control over the country and its people. He established his political party as the ruling party and suppressed any opposition through violent purges and executions. Opposition was not tolerated. Anyone who challenged his authority risked severe punishment, including torture and even death. He was deemed a tyrant who would suppress anyone who opposes him, and his word became the law. Saddam Hussein even pursued aggressive foreign policies, particularly during the Iran-Iraq War and the invasion of Kuwait in 1990. The Iran-Iraq War resulted in immense human and economic losses, and the invasion of Kuwait led to an international coalition-led intervention known as the Gulf War. These conflicts heightened regional tensions and threatened global stability. But that's not all. Hussein's regime committed gross human rights violations against specific ethnic and religious groups within Iraq. The Kurdish population in the north suffered immensely under his rule, facing chemical attacks and genocide in what became known as the Anfal campaign. Why the USA got involved? The USA saw Saddam Hussein as a major threat to regional stability and U.S. interests for several reasons. His aggressive actions in the region, including the invasion of Kuwait, raised concerns about his expansionist ambitions. Further, Hussein's pursuit of weapons of mass destruction, or WMDs, and refusal to fully cooperate with UN weapons inspections fueled suspicions that he could potentially use such weapons or share them with terrorist organizations. There was a hidden agenda as well. It is claimed that the states wanted to assert its influence in the Middle East and ensure the flow of oil, a vital resource for the global economy. Saddam's actions and rhetoric challenged American dominance in the region and posed a risk to U.S. allies. So, the stage was set. The U.S.-led invasion of Iraq in 2003 aimed to topple Saddam Hussein's regime, remove the perceived threat of WMDs, and promote democracy in the region. The date of the attack was March 20th, 2003, just 2 days before Saddam ordered to move the cash. The biggest bank robbery. As mentioned before, Saddam Hussein's word became the law. Remember the note Qusay had? It was signed by Saddam to move the wealth of his country to some secure place. And as fishy as that sounds, bank employees had to comply. They had no other option. Bills worth nearly $1 billion were filled in 3 massive trucks, moved to unknown locations. The money was collected from the taxes on the Iraqi people, and many sources claim that it had portions of Saddam Hussein's personal wealth as well. But why the move? It looks like Saddam Hussein predicted that the USA was going to attack his nation, or he might have received intel about the USA's intentions. Either way, Saddam Hussein concluded that it would be hard to move his wealth in case of a foreign attack, and he was right. He robbed the people of his own country and directed his son to loot a quarter of the net worth of Iraq. Some sources and experts claim that Saddam Hussein needed the money to flee and start a new life for himself and his family, in a safe place where he could never be found. $1 billion will get that done for you easily, while experts claim that he wanted to collect that money to form an inside resistance to drive off the American attacks. He could use the money to fuel months, if not years, of war in any other country. However, none of these plans were successful, as Saddam Hussein's family started to disintegrate one at a time. The ending. A massive search began, and people did their best to find the money, one way or the other. While around $650 million was recovered, the rest was never found. Uday Hussein, Saddam's older son, was the mastermind to hide the money. He distributed chunks of money in various locations, and the money recovered was found by searching the palaces he owned. When the US soldiers started to infiltrate the country, Saddam Hussein and his family went into hiding. A nationwide manhunt started. The first target on the list was the man himself, followed by his sons, Qusay Hussein, who was chosen to be the successor of the tyrant, and the infamously aggressive Uday Hussein. A bounty of $30 million was put on the heads of the sons, which ended up becoming the reason for their deaths. Qusay and Uday Hussein were hiding in a house in the city of Mosul, and their location was sold by an informant for the bounty. Well, that information was enough for the United States Army to openly fire anti-tank BGM-71 TOW missiles, and after 12 explosions in the house, both sons of Saddam Hussein were declared dead. The remaining $350 million was never recovered, even after the death of Saddam Hussein. The controversy. This is the official story, as portrayed by the media, backed by research from US media, The Guardian, and more. But there's another end to this coin, the more controversial and conspiracy theory side of the coin. They say that the money was never moved by Saddam Hussein. Instead, it was a cover story for a crime much deeper than we are taught to know. The money from the bank was removed, but it was not done by the dictator, but by other forces. They used the disguise of war and the tyrant nature of Hussein to cover up crimes much worse than the dictator was accused of. They stole the money and blamed Saddam Hussein for it. Even if Saddam did move the money, he did that to save it from the hands of the opposition. And while the $650 million was recovered, so was the rest of it. But it never made it to the face of the news, because the forces hid it well, and used it for themselves. I mean, it doesn't seem too hard to imagine after the allegations that followed the US for the 2003 war with Iraq, does it? Well, as for now, these theories are reduced to just that, theories. What do you think? Which side of the story do you believe? That might be hard for you to pick, but one thing is for sure. A bank was robbed, $1 billion were moved, and that became the biggest bank robbery of all time. While this might be a robbery instructed by the head of a country, and we might never know the true details, there is one more robbery that you should know about, a heist with diamonds, cash, and a plan so strong that even 10 layers of security couldn't prevent it. Click on the video on your screen to find out about the Antwerp diamond heist. I'll see you there. Thanks for watching.